right, you guys, welcome back to the Common Theory, the number one CPDH podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Gator, along with my man, Kunx, and along with my man, a sandwich. Yes, that kind of makes me hungry, but let's get to it. It's been a while since I've been here with you guys. It's very nice to be back. All these holidays have been really getting us all over the place, making it a little bit difficult to get these videos out to you guys, but I am very excited to be here today with our end of year wrap up. But as always, before we start, gotta talk to the family. How you guys doing? Kunx, how's things been?
Everything's been great. Holidays happened. I think we talked about it. Was it in like one of the morning podcasts where I just said, yeah, it was very nice and uneventful. And you said, yep, when you get older, you don't get that much presents, and when it's just nice and peaceful, so much better. My son got a whole bunch of cars, and he's just been playing with them the whole time. He got a PS5, didn't care about it. Been playing with like all these little Hot Wheels.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What about you, Rohan? How's it been, man?
Yeah, man. Likewise, it was. It was like an uneventful holiday season, but we still had like 30 people over my parents, like the whole family. So it's like a lot, like 5 dogs, 30 people. It's like 16 kids. It's nuts, but it's a good time.
It's a lot of family.
I did get to share the gift of Magic the Gathering with my cousin.
Oh,
who
that's
just turned
awesome.
14, and I got him the Friday Night Magic box.
Nice. The 5
player
It's like 560 card decks, each monocolor, one of each color. It seemed really sick, and he was over the moon. He has a commander deck. He's like an Egra deck, but he doesn't really know what to do with it. He doesn't really know how to play it. And I was like, all right, chill. Maybe start with this. And he was like so stoked. And even his little sister, who's like 3 years younger than him, was also really, really stoked because she like just wants to do whatever her older brother's doing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty dope.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm. How about you, man? How was yours?
Dude, boring. And you know what? That's the way I like it. Just spent some time with the family, relaxed, got to plop around on the couch quite a bit. My kids were having a ball with their presents. We got them some more Transformers, but we got some for them specifically. We got them some of the Titans. They're just incredibly large. They're like 22 inches tall. And they've been playing with those, having a blast. And my son got some remote control cars, and he's been burning through too many batteries. So... But with all that said,
I have to buy a whole bunch of them too. That's the only other problem. Like, you forget how many batteries you actually have to buy, even though almost everything's rechargeable nowadays. No, all those AA's like burn up so much,
so fast too. But
hey, Kunx.
Yeah, what's up, Rohan?
Dude, check this thing out, man. It is the Arcane Fortress Radiant 100 Plus Deluxe deck box.
Wow, that looks really cool.
Yeah, man. It's deluxe because not only does it hold a full commander deck, and that's double sleeved.
Wow, double sleeve? That's amazing.
Yeah, best believe. With room to spare, by the way. But it has this really sick dice box here it's actually kind of hard to detach because the magnets are pretty strong. It's like it's really on there. I mean, I don't know if you can hear it.
Wow, that is really tough.
It's on. Yeah, it's really solid on there. Let me open it up here. And there's magnets that close the lid even. It's like the attention to detail is off the chain. We've got some...
Wow, that's a lot of room for dice.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the coolest part about it is, look at this artwork, dude.
Yeah, that's some beautiful artwork. I think, according to them, I remember hearing that that's the company that uses a lot of real good artists. A lot of real artists for the products.
Who did this art? So it's beautiful stained glass lotus art. Actually matches my Tameshi Lotus Bloom tribal deck quite well. Also, the art is repeated on these really nifty separators. You can see.
Wow, and you get separators with the deck box?
They're really thick, and they're not plastic. They're like a leather or leatherette material, and they're like kind of flexy, and like they're really substantial, and they're soft. So like they're not going to scratch your cards or mar your your nice sleeves and all. Yeah, it's been pretty sweet. I've been jamming my main CDH deck in this box for the past couple weeks now, and
Hey, that's
yeah,
great. So it holds about 100 double sleeve cards, which I think turns out to be like about 133 single sleeve cards
Single
and
sleeve
like
cards,
80 triple sleeve cards too.
yeah. If you're down with that lifestyle, the triple sleeve lifestyle for your legacy and your vintage decks.
It's just amazing premium materials, including the nanofiber exterior that's durable and feels great to the touch. Order one. Where would we get it?
You can get one through our affiliate link, right on the YouTube link that you're seeing right below. So click that link, use the affiliate code, and get
5% off.
5% off.
With all that said, let's jump into this episode. I'm really excited to bring you guys our kind of end of year wrap up. We're going to be kind of bouncing all over the place, so sorry for that. But we're just going to be discussing specifically a few of our past episodes and kind of going through some of our thoughts then to compare them to now. But to start, let's kind of dive in. I wanted to touch upon our synergy versus power cards video. And I really wanted to talk about the Wooborg Color Pie and kind of run through it with you guys of what we think are some power cards still. And if there's any new ones that came out during the year or still some of the old ones, or we got anything new that replaced some of them. But with that said, you want to start us off with White, Rohan?
Sure. Yeah. I think there's a single standout card that came out this year that is you'll probably see in pretty much every white deck. That will be Thraben Charm. That card is cracked, right? It does
nuts.
It's too many things. It does everything, right? Removal, two different hands of removal, graveyard hate. It's insane, right? One-sided graveyard hate at that. Yeah, instant speed. It's sick. It's everything that white needed. Please, WotC, print more cards like that.
Yeah, dude.
Especially for white.
It's cracked. I mean, that card is just absurd. I mean, let's say what our old one was, though. And I will say that I still think this card's good, but it was Stave Off was the one we kind of said. So
still a great card, right? It's still multi-purpose, and it's not removal, but it kind of fills a slot.
Yep.
No, but it helped out push White's role from being super defensive to, I have this thing that can kill anything.
Yeah.
Three returns bonkers. Every mode is like nuts. Like
every mode's crazy.
Yeah. The enchantment removal mode, it doesn't come up that often, but when it does, you're super happy that you have a disenchant in your deck.
Yep.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I think that more people should probably play more enchantments because there's not really a lot of enchantment hate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Totally, really good in that format, actually. That card is awesome. Super, super cool. Super fun card.
All right, Franklin, hit us with the next one. Blue. What is a standout card to you?
Before it was Lauren revealed, I don't think we've gotten any new blue cards this year, actually.
Nothing too crazy. We have a few, like we have our old favorites, right? The counter spells and stuff like that. But
which we've been slowly removing out of our decks too, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah, the only one that I thought was very interesting, actually, we were talking about it here right before the show started, is that came out this year was Unfathomable Truths. That was the one we were talking about, right? Like that card is pretty cracked for what it is. I think it got really
it came out in
overlooked.
Modern Horizons 3. Rohan, would you be able to pull it up?
I was just going to do that for you. Unfathomable Truths is a colorless devoid instant for 4 colorless mana and 1 blue pip. So even though it's a blue pip, it's a colorless spell. It says draw 3 cards and create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn token with sacrifice this creature, add 1 colorless mana. Big splashy draw spell that refunds you 1.
And don't forget, it is instant speed.
Yep.
It's not sorcery speed. So that card is very under the radar. And if you guys want to draw cards, I would highly recommend taking a look at that card.
Yeah, the only problem I have with it is that it's devoid, so I can't grab it with Merchant Scroll.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. I was like, it's a blue instant speed draw. but it is actually colorless.
Does
So,
dodge, because of that though, it does dodge Reb, Beb, I mean not Beb,
yep,
Reb and Pyro. Yep.
it does,
Yeah,
which I'm
but
really happy about.
yeah, I was gonna say the other problem with that is that no one really runs Pyro or Red Blast
I think they're
outside of
starting to see
tournaments.
more play. Yeah, they're starting to
Yeah,
see a
I
little
mean,
bit more fringe play.
I've seen them in Arabella decks, actually. I've seen Arabella decks play both. Not sure if that's correct, but I've seen it.
Nah, I think so here's the thing. Open play? No. Tournament play? All day, every day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
And I think this kind of card, it's probably going to go in like a very, very tuned mid-range blue deck, right?
Yeah.
That is
Yep.
looking for something splashy in the late game to refill their hand. You're probably down on cards and you need to turn the corner, and this is that thing that brings you back in the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I can
100%.
probably see myself playing this in either in some Malcolm Red variant, throwing it into Abdel Blue because that always needs more card draw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always been on the cusp of me putting it into Malcolm Breaches. I think it does a lot of the things that the deck wants. At some point, I will certainly test it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few little lists that are out there that are fringe at the moment, like RAF. I think would be great in RAF. There's another fringe Izzet deck called Maelstrom Muse. It's another one that I think that card would be very good in. So I definitely think that the card has a lot of potential.
Yeah, speaking of fringe, actually? I think if you copy this with Melik, that would be insane too.
Yes, Melik is another one. But all right, let's move on to black, and I think it's my turn. Our original one was Snuff Out. That one,
new cards. Yeah,
new cards. I think we have a Curse Marauder. Really, like 2 mana.
Yeah, that
card is ridiculous. Where do you guys?
I think it pretty much brought back black control by itself.
Dodges tokens, insane.
Yeah, card is just bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just bonkers in our format. It's becoming just a proper EDH staple.
Yeah.
Proper Pauper staple, too, because it's a 2-mana Chain Devil.
Staple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, the card's just absolutely disgusting. So very much think that card is great. But that was easy. That was easy. What about red, Rohan? Hit us with the red, bro. What do you got?
So originally I think Lightning Bolt is the easy one, right? That was in our last time we discussed this. As far as new cards go, we got a lot of new cards in red. A few stand out though. Siege Smash is an unreal card that I think fills the slot. Just having of course it says it has split second and it also can destroy an artifact. It can make something unblockable. But the split second piece alone, I think, makes it a valid inclusion, especially in decks that are red decks that don't have blue.
Yep.
You can use it basically as a stack clearer or like an Angel's Grace to just completely stop a combo. As long as someone else also has a piece of interaction. So what happens here is, let's say your Gretchen player is about to pop off, right? What you can do if you want to shut them down is you can work with another player at the table to say like, hey, can you interact with this to stop it? And they're like, yep, I got a counterspell. Cool. They interact with the counterspell, and then you respond with your Siege Smash. And now you have stopped anything else on the stack. The counterspell is going to resolve, stopping the combo, and the Gretchen players, they're screwed. They're done.
Well,
that combo ain't happening.
That's like super, super sick. I love that so much. But let me let Franklin finally go. I think I'm going to let him out of the cage here for a second.
Well, no, I was going to say that Siege Smash also provides a super protected instant speed win line with First Day of Class.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because all the
goblin combo tech from Pauper. Yep.
Yeah, because as long as you respond with Ashnod's Altar, you win, because that's a mana ability.
Yep.
Yeah, you're able to push through it. But Franklin, I'm letting you out the cage. Please hit them with all of your thrills.
Oh my god. Yeah, so we got, Demand Answers at the beginning of the year. Then immediately we got Highway Robbery. We had to wait a couple months. Actually, no. MH3 gave us Glimpse of the Impossible, which isn't really a thrill, but it's in the same family. It's like a cousin.
To the world.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bigger Witch's Mark. No, Witch's Mark was last year, actually.
Oh, was
That was Wads of
Yep,
Ultrain.
yep.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then Bloomborough, I don't think we got a throw.
Yeah, grab the prize. Grab the prize.
Grab the prize.
No, that's
oh man, that card.
Dustmorn.
Oh, that's Dustmorn. Yeah.
Yeah, grab the prize.
I think
spicy, though. It's a
Bloomborough's
great
the
card.
only standard deck where we did not get a thrill.
I think they reprinted one in there. That's why. I think they put a thrill in that one.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Because I know we got thrill in Foundation.
See, if you guys haven't noticed, there's been so many, we're having trouble even keeping up with them. It's just insane. But they're awesome. I cannot, like, it's literally the reason I'm playing Arena Street Urchin now. Because I put all of those in that deck, and I just want to burn through the entire deck list with those. Like, absolutely love it. But, Franklin, please, the last category, green. What do we got?
I honestly have no clue.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Well, so we originally did Vines. That was our original one.
Yeah, but I don't think we got anything like that's a staple in green.
I don't.
Because I as much as I would love to say
either.
Baskin Root Walla,
Old school.
Root Walla's not
Taking
a
it
staple.
old school. Yeah, depressingly enough, I kind of agree with you. I don't think we got anything that was like super top tier. I know we did get a few things from Modern Horizons, and once again, it's Modern Horizons. Like the easiest card I think is Evolution Witness to really put out there.
Yeah.
And,
but like, it's the same.
It doesn't see play in every deck, right?
Right.
But Vines would. Like if you're playing Vines, you're playing Tameo Safekeeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like Evolution Witness, I could see slotting it in a lot of decks, but I do know a lot of decks are not putting it in there either. So, you know.
Yeah, both of those have like two little hoops you have to jump through, and the payoff is very specific. Because Root Walla, you just win.
The which one?
Not Baskin Root Walla. I'm sorry. Brooding.
Brood Scale. Brood Scale.
Brood Scale. Yeah.
Baskin Brood Scale. Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't lost there. You haven't lost there for a second.
Yeah, I was thinking of a lizard in green. That's why.
Yes.
You know what? I'm thinking of Mono Red Dredge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got the dredge on the brain.
I think I'd say the closest maybe is like Malevolent Rumble in the right deck.
You know what?
One mana. Yeah. It's kind of like an impulse in green.
Yeah.
So speed for 1 mana.
I could see it.
I mean,
I'm also still not playing it. Sadly, I'm still not playing it on my green decks, though. That's the sad part.
It'll probably be a staple next year when we all realize that, it's not that bad. But right now, like...
I think it's much better in like a non-Simic shell and like green with something not blue.
Yep. Yeah, I could agree to that.
Yeah.
But with that said...
permanent, right? Or
it's permanent, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is. But with that said, that was our kind of like little wrap up, kind of to let you guys know about our synergy versus power cards. This next subject, I think, is going to be a little bit more spicier for you guys. What do you guys think about Hare Apparent still? Did it give you guys a little bit of tickles? Did it give you guys some sauce? What are your thoughts about good old Hare Apparent?
I like it in one very specific deck right now. Outside of that deck,
what deck?
It's all right. Outside of Gold Knight Commander, it's a card. It kind of, it's like the Slimes issue of like, yeah, you can slot like 40 of these in a deck. Good luck doing anything with it. But
yeah. I feel like I just haven't seen it. I think the price tag has really limited its play for a lot of people. Yep. I mean, they're still over $5 pop. And even proxying it, you have to proxy a lot of them. So it's not just like it's printing one card and cutting it out. And, it's like a ton of cards. And I think most people just don't want to deal with it right now. So maybe a slow burn. Maybe we'll see it more next year.
Yeah, I agree to that. I'm the same thing. I've played it a handful of times at most. I thought it was going to be way more popular. But I really do think the price tag really just shined people away. And also, too, I bought a bunch of packs. And so did a bunch of my friends. And all of us together maybe opened a play set. And this is like 50 packs. Like they are just not easy to open.
They're not easy to find. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
man, Watsy out here with the short print comments.
I had to ask you guys about the Hare Apparent. I really enjoyed that episode with you guys. So we had to bring that back around.
But I still think it's sick and has a ton of potential. But
I agree.
Yeah, we haven't seen it in the wild yet. So
yeah. Corpse Knight wasn't too bad when I saw it in there, but again, between Gold Knight Commander and Corpse Knight, it has potential. But and man, I should have read it for you guys earlier. So Gold Knight Commander is a 4-mana mono white commander, a legendary human cleric soldier. That's a 2/2 that says whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn.
Yes.
So when you're just spamming out Hare Apparent, it's like the original Hare gives everyone +1/+1, plus all the other Hares that it spawns out.
Yep.
So I think by like turn 8 or 9, all the Hares are like 11/11s.
Yeah, they're massive. It's actually faster than that because each creature gets it. It was turn 7. I was watching a game. I don't remember the sequencing that happened. I think a cloud shift was involved, and the entire board state got +11/+11, and that's like Zada. You know what I mean? That's like Zada power. Just like the masses are coming. So it was pretty wild.
Actually, yeah, it's basically this mono white Zada because it's also 4 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think they're very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, let's move on to our next one. So I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. We had a whole episode of Winconless Decks. What are your guys' thoughts? Now, before we get into that, let me define it here real quick. So what we mean by Winconless is decks that either one, don't have like a definitive way to win the game. So for instance, Voltron damage, like Wilson Far Traveler, Dargo Kediss, right? You know those decks is going to try to beat you specifically through Voltroning you. That's their main game plan. But then we have other decks like, for instance, Scholar of the Ages, that you know is going to try to win through some sort of combo line. Those decks have a definitive way to win. But now we look at decks like, what's a good one to bring up? Most people know Aaron Street Urchin. There are some combo variants out there of the deck, but mostly it's just trying to control the field and eventually beat you to death with some big guy. Yeah. And you don't know how you're going to get there, but you know that's the plan. It's not I don't want to say it's a bad plan, but you're just kind of figuring it out as you go. Somewhat similar to like Sybaris. It's another good example where it's just kind of like, see what we draw. Maybe I'll drain you with this. Maybe I'll poke you with a squirrel. Don't really know how to get there, but I'm going to control the game until we get there. So those are examples of, those last two are examples of Winconless decks because they don't really have a direction that they're trying to go. They're not really hunting for anything specifically. What are you guys' thoughts now about some of those decks? Do you think some of them got better? Do you think they're still kind of like lower on the tier for you guys? What are your thoughts?
I can take this
Ron,
one
if you want to go first.
Sure. Yeah, I think some of them got better and some of them got worse. Just before we hopped on here, we were talking about Dargo Kediss, right? It's a deck that I think earlier in the beginning of the year, stocks were down. There's a lot of removal, a lot of hate on the deck. It just wasn't performing. There was a lot of fast combo decks, and it was struggling. A lot of those fast combo decks have a lot of things like bounce spells, and just makes the deck very hard to play. But since then, things have changed. We've got cards like Arabella. We've got a lot more Hollow Marauder. These decks that are just like trying to hit and just deal damage to the table. That are, I'd say even Hollow Marauder is like a Winconless deck. That can either put on a clock on the table very quickly, or do things like Resource Denial. And play that control game. It creates a new threat for a lot of these decks where their primary out is a combo, which inadvertently makes these sort of faster aggro decks like Gut Leader rather, and Dargo Kediss significantly better. Because now there's another threat at the table, like an Arabella, like a Hollow Marauder, and that your interactive decks are going to focus on and generally leave Gut alone or leave Dargo alone. And I've seen that a lot in the past 2-3 months, actually, with Dargo Kediss like being at the table, hitting the table, and people are like, "Yep, Dargo can live. It's fine." I was like, "Really? You're not? That's cool." And they're like, "It's cool." I'm like, "All right, sick. That's the best thing I heard all day." So I think decks like that are more aggro, hit the entire table, like symmetric damage decks have seen their stocks go up. So if we're considering those Winconless decks, then I think those are doing really good. On the flip side, I think the heavy control Winconless decks actually, while they do provide a threat at the table, I think stocks are a bit down.
Yeah. Totally fair. Yeah, like the Arena Street Urchins.
Yeah, the Hollow Marauders, the Arena Street Urchins, some similar types of decks. They just, once again, like we've said it countless times, they require a very, very political, a very yappy pilot who can, not saying that's a bad thing, it's just like that's the play style. You have to be good at that type of commander play. You need to be able to talk and convince people to do what you need them to do, to avoid you and to interact with other people for you to win. And if you're that kind of pilot, have at it. I think those decks will be very successful for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. Yeah, because during the middle of the year, Black X just stocks went way up. Because again, Curse Marauder got really good. People tried to avoid playing the combo after the whole Simic Summer happened. And Malcolm Kediss blowing up at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But now again with Arabella. Yes, Garrett? Oh.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt you there, Franklin. There's actually one other reason that Black decks actually went up in stock so much. I just wanted to throw that out there to you guys. It's all the swamp cyclers that color scheme got. Like, well, all of them, but specifically Black feeds into like all of our great commanders, right? Like Syr Konrad, Hollow Marauder, and all them. Like, just the swamp cycling is just absurd for those kinds of piles. So just had to throw that out there.
We've had 12 Cosmic Doom for 18 months at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not until like recently we're all just like, you know what, maybe this is actually not that bad of a swamp cycler. The other three are like whatever, but Lord Revealed and Troll Cosmic Doom are just great.
Yeah. We also got Blackout Eviscerator's Insight, which is like insane
bonkers.
Card. Great bonkers card. It just does everything that Black wants.
All the new deadly disputes we kept getting too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, there's so many new cards for Black. I know Aaron's Syr Konrad list added about 15 new cards from this year. Maybe. I think it's actually more. I think it's upwards of 15. It's between 15 to 20. I don't remember exact.
Wild.
But Murder got a pure upgrade. I don't remember the name. It's like Breathe Your Last, I believe. I believe that's what it's called. Breathe Your Last. Mm-hmm. It's just Murder with upside. And then we have like Slice from the Shadows. There's
Slice is sick. Underplayed card.
There's draw spells. I think it's called Dire Sight. Don't quote me on that one. But it's like a Surveil, draw 2, lose 2. I mean, there's so much new cards.
Crazy.
Yeah. There's so many new cards that came out this year for Mono Black. So Mono Black has definitely, I would say, has been juiced this year. 100%. Yeah. So
also, Rowan's Grim Search has been out for now over a year, but that card is also ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had so much gas. I mean, historically, like those old Mono Black decks back in the day were playing like 35 to 37 lands. I know Aaron specifically, his Syr Konrad deck's down to 30, which is
and he's also playing like
30
all of the fetches.
5 CMC Commander is wild.
Yeah, it's 30
because
lands.
He plays all the fetches now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pulls out all the lands come out of the deck in the first like 6 turns of the game. It's crazy. With all the swamps, like 9-10 swamp cyclers and like 8 or 9 fetches, and the deck just burns through all the lands out. It's crazy.
Yeah, so by the time Syr Konrad drops, he only draws gas.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he has to activate Syr Konrad, hey, everyone's at least taking one.
Well, you kind of already alluded to our next subject, Rohan. We're going to kind of hit you guys. This is going to be our last subject of the day, but it's going to be pretty long. We're going to kind of reflect on some of our old decisions of the tier list and kind of like talk to you guys about some commanders we really think have gone like, or some commanders that have really gotten way better. And Rohan kind of snuck one in there, how he feels about the Dargo and the gut piles. So we'll get to that one soon. I'm going to hit you guys first with my biggest disappointment of the year. And it's a very near and dear deck to mine. Abdel Blue. Beginning of this year, I found Abdel Blue to be like one of the strongest decks in the format. And I would argue with people at that moment, back in January time, that it was the strongest deck in the format. I took my deck apart. That is how I'm feeling about it right now. I legitimately...
Brutal.
It's over there in chunks. It is so hard to play now. I lost like 50 games in a row with the deck. Could not win at all. It's just, it is just after I won my 51st game and I took the deck apart with that win. And I was like, yep, sorry, you're gone. It's way too slow. It can't defend itself. If Abdo ever resolves, you're like, yay. But there's like
not yet. You have to ask two questions. You have to go, Abdo resolves? ETB?
Yes.
Yeah,
and true. The running joke we have now is Franklin still plays his Abdel.
Which I don't even want to anymore.
Well, here's the joke. Tell me how funny this is, Rohan. Get ready.
It's not. It's depressing.
I have not seen in the past 15 or so games, give or take, every single on curve turn 2, one of Franklin's opponents goes Suture Priest. And then one of his next opponents goes Nihil Spellbomb or Relic. Every single game I've watched and him play, and I'm just sitting here going, how does this happen to you? The whole table is
tell you this shit happened to me all the time. And you're like, nah, that's just bad play patterns from you, Kunx. You just suck at this game. I'm like, how do I suck if this shit happens?
Oh,
it's so funny. It's just like mind-boggling to me because I play the deck, never play against those cards. Franklin, and I'm still losing for the record, even though I don't see those cards. Right? Like that should tell you something. Like I don't ever see them and I'm still losing. But I'm losing to a lot of things. In fact, I'm going to dive into it for a second so you guys don't think I'm blowing hot air. Obviously, we lose to Suture Priest. That card crushes us because it's not a main trigger. Right?
It's so rough.
Wardens.
So good.
All the relics and graveyard hate is typically just pointed at you. The white card of the year, Thraben Charm. Thrashes you.
Wrecks that deck.
Thrashes you. You ready? The red card of the year, Siege Smash. Blows your artifact up mid-combo where you're like, I don't have color meta anymore.
or your one pinger rock that you need in there.
Yep. Yeah. Blows that thing up. You're like...
Or you just go like, I'm mana neutral. I still need my Astral. Oh, no, never mind. There goes my Astral. Not getting all through the deck. I guess I'll just make a whole bunch of soldiers.
Yep. And... that's not discounting all of the wrath spells that exist now because of Arabellas and stuff. And that's just hosing your defenses as well. And it's mind-boggling. Like, the deck is just getting shit on right or left. And, this is another funny one. In a Pinger meta, and in a Pinger world... you can't wall them out. They're just like, sure, you have a wall of creatures. I'll just cast a spell and shoot you in the face. And you're like,
yep,
lovely.
And you can't even really keep your own Suture Priest on the board because it just gets blown up anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The last game I saw Abdel Blue played in was like a month ago. I saw their entire army get electricaried.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
Yep. Which is ironic, right? Because Abdel Black has none of these problems. Like, all of those cards, you'd be like, oh yeah, that beats Abdel Black. It doesn't do anything to Abdel
Black. You're
like,
oh yeah, I just sack all of these and ping you for 20.
Yeah.
Because Abdel Black is also a pinger deck.
Yep. So it's crazy. Like, all these cards just hose it. Like, playing the combos in the blue variant right now, I like they should just all get cut out at this point because they don't work anymore. You can't. You're too vulnerable on too many different axes. Yep. Switch it to black, and then you're good to go.
All right. Yeah. Switch all the white cards for black, and we either play Horde Shadow Spinner or Val Agent.
This man's off in left field.
Look, man, I'm either going to go over to Tony's house or I'm going to go hang out with Matessus and you.
Yep. I totally feel that. But let me finish with my spill of Abdel Blue here. That's it. I had to go there. I'm sorry, guys, but I wouldn't even sleeve this deck up if I took it to a tournament. Like, just leave that deck at home. But I do know, Franklin, you have some thoughts about TPI.
I wish I did have thoughts on TPI. Unfortunately, since the beginning of the year, no one's really played it. No one's touched it. I think it just pretty much got replaced by like just Malcolm by Malcolm Red variants. Actually, it's going to get replaced in like by the time you guys watch it tomorrow, when Saheeli becomes legal for an entire month, and everyone just plays Saheeli Rai instead. Like, no one's touched TPI in forever, and even in testing it, we like to say, "Oh no, it's still a strong deck," and then when we actually play against, we're like, "What does this deck do?"
I mean, look, it's fine, but there's so many other decks now that are doing the various things that deck wants to do just so much better. Like, if you want to put out a bunch of 1/1s and ping the table down, play Arabella, right? Yeah.
Or
if you're trying to play, like, is it Storm? Play Malcolm Kediss, play Malcolm Breaches, play something like that, right? Like, there's just other ways to get your fix, your TPI fix, that are just like leagues ahead of what TPI is able to do right now.
Yep. Yeah, and like even like is it Spell Slinger just for pingers? There's just other decks you could do. Just again, like any of the Malcolm Red variants, do the same thing, but you don't have to go TPI. Oh yeah, and that's the other problem with TPI. It only has a one butt, so it dies to all the electric
right
too.
So like that electricity that I mentioned before just wrecks you. And now we're seeing so many more of those cards being played in the format, especially in black, right? Drown in Sorrow. Oh my god, that card is cracked. Sick. Yeah, and I see it blow people out all the time. Every time someone plays that card and it's not countered, it resolves, it's a blowout for at least one, if not two people in the game.
Yeah, I super agree with you guys. Well, I mean, you kind of said it. Now, it's going to sound like we're contradicting ourselves here, guys, but work with us here. Don't think we're crazy. But we're moving into what Rohan said earlier about Dargo stocks and gut stocks. So in the beginning of the year, we were not at all high on gut because TPI was running around. And some of these decks were just walling you, like Abdel Blue. And those decks, like Abdel Blue, is like gut struggles to beat that. Such a bad matchup for gut.
Yep. Yeah.
Abdel Blue's gone. And TPI's gone. And gut is very happy. I don't know if you want to kind of elaborate on that, Rohan.
Yeah. I mean, like, we even saw decks earlier in the year like Kadira. You know, like there's all these 1/1 strategies out there, and it's funny because right now we do have that in Arabella, and we're really seeing it kind of clustered around Arabella specifically. But the thing that deck does is it also hits the entire table all at once, right? So by doing that, it gives Gut this amazing advantage now where, one, Arabella is the threat at the table, like the existential threat. People don't care about Gut anymore, which is great. And then Gut gets to pick off the other two players who are down in life that Arabella is just helping you. And then you get to 1v1 Arabella and you just straight win that match. So it's a great matchup for Gut. And we're just seeing that more often, just based on the types of decks that have been excelling. And yeah, like you said, Chris, like no Abdel, minus Abdel Black. So Abdel Black is still a problem for Gut.
It is.
But with that said, depending on, the player who's playing it and how, like, what their game plan is, like a really, really good Abdel Black player can change their play patterns to beat Gut.
Yes.
But someone who's not as great at the deck, if they're just like, all right, yeah, I'm just going to make a bunch of 1/1s, I'm going to sack them and ping the table down. The gut player's eating. They're like, all right, yes.
Yeah, in that matchup, you just use your soldiers as like, yeah, I'll block all your skeletons.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'll make sure that you will take the damage.
Well, also too, like a deck like Gut loves like playing against some of our strongest decks in the format, right? Like it loves the Gretchen match.
Always has.
Like it loves the Weaver matchup. It's just like, oh, dude, you want to race, dude? I got bolts and staves offs and Thraben charms. Like, dude, I'm gonna 1-for-1 you when you try to win the game, and I'll just beat you to death with my skeletons and dedicate 0 resources to the table. It's just you're not countering Chromatic Star and Chromatic Sphere, like these junk cards that, not worth countering. But also, too, I know one of you're actually, all 3 of us are Dargo players, which I think is kind of cool. What are your thoughts on Dargos, you guys?
Dargo Kediss is still one of the best aggro decks in the game. Just that, more people need to play it. Outside of us 3 plus Caitlin plus Aaron, more people need to actually play it and just go like, yep, here's a Dargo. Suck it. What are you going to do about it? Remove Dargo? All right, here's another Dargo.
Well, we kind of said it too earlier, Franklin, right? With the cards that came out this year in the red section.
Yeah, no, that and like I think Deskit also should also get another look at. I know Elite Dude came out of nowhere. Was one like an F&M league last year or super early this year. I can't remember because time all merged together. But Dargo Keskit also has straight gas too.
Yeah, they got a lot of cards. Both.
Yeah, I know House
Dargo variants for sure.
Yeah,
well, Dargo variants for sure. All of them have just gotten so many cards. I mean, I don't even know the name of it off the top of my head. The new monkey toy? Sounds horrible to say.
Persistent Percussionist?
I believe so.
Something Percussionist.
Sounds right. Clockwork Percussionist?
Clockwork Percussionist, yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go. Like, there's these little cards that we've been getting for all these Dargo variants, and they're so incredibly important for the entire, like, backbone of the deck. Like, grab the prize. That extra 2 to the table is such a big deal for a Dargo variant.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yep. And the decks are fast, right? Like, these Winconless decks, like we were talking about earlier, right? Those decks thrive in a meta where you have, like, the combo player that really wants to, combo style decks, I should say, that want to sit back and kind of take their time and develop their resources. But they are terrified when Dargos sit at the table because they're like, I either mulligan to removal or lose the game, like, immediately.
Yeah, because you can't race them.
Yeah, there's no racing. They're racing you, and they're just blistering fast. Similar to Gut, right? It's just like you're saying, Gut's able to 1v1 a player and just deal with them. And, Ron, I had the same experience you had where I was playing my Gut deck, and an Arabella was at the table, and they just straight up were like, Gut? That's fine. And I was like, yo, is this really happening right now? Like,
that's
dude,
not even good anymore. You're like right.
They actually said that to me. They were like, oh, Gut's not that good. I was like, okay, whatever you say.
Cool.
Here's 6 skeletons. Good luck.
Like, it was awesome. Like, I blew them out with a prismatic strands because the Arabella is a damage trigger. So I was just like, gain your life. It's okay. You gain 5 life. I'm going to 36 you. Like, whoosh. So, yeah, it's pretty wild seeing all of these different decks. I really do believe stocks are going up a lot. Kind of going back to TPI, it's something I wanted to bring up, Franklin. What are your thoughts on this? I also think TPI is in such a low place because some of these decks, to compensate for Arabellas, and these like decks that are just little critter decks, they're starting to play more wrath effects, like Breath Weapon, Fiery Cannonades, and the Electricities.
Yeah.
But Gut is good at having 3 butts, or protection, or indestructible. Arabella, exactly the same thing. Because they're playing white specifically, they have those protection spells, they have those indestructible spells, they have these tokens that replace these creatures that replace themselves, right? It's just like a Doom Traveler effect. So I really think
and
those
that's
decks are a
with
great
TPI because like most of the TPI spells are just draw spells and like expensive draw spells too that require the tokens.
Yeah, once your board is wiped, you are
hurting.
that's a
Set.
lot. Yeah.
You're like not even playing the game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it takes you a long
That's why I
time to
always
rebuild.
said TPI is actually a 3-mana creature because you have to pay the 2 mana for the spell plus 1 more just to get a token out of it.
Yeah, but that's the other thing, right? We forgot to mention that one of the biggest problems that deck is running into now. One of its old play patterns used to be TPI would go, here's my TPI on turn 2. Not a big deal, right? But now with the, what's his name? The 2-mana sacrifice creature. Curse
Marauder.
That just completely hoses that, right? Like your play pattern.
TPI doesn't have edict fodder.
Well, you don't have edict fodder because it's non-token, right? Like that creature is just there's been so many things that are pushing that deck farther and farther away from the meta. It's absolutely insane to me.
Dude, that same phenomenon with the Curse Marauder making that one card made black decks more popular, right? So is a Guild Mage, dude. That deck just gets obliterated by that one card and basically edicts in general. And when black is at the table and we're seeing way more black decks now, that deck just gets hosed. And that was one of the biggest downfalls for me. You know, I used to be not a dedicated IGM player, but like it was one of my favorite decks. It's still such a cool deck, but like I haven't been able to get off the ground at all with that deck. Like I'm not winning anything.
Sucks. Yeah, because it feels like with Izu Guild Mage, you just have to just play it like Scholar and just go like, here's a rock, here's some more rocks, here's some more rocks, here's some more rocks.
Well, here's
and then like, hey
guys,
please
doing
don't
nothing. You're doing nothing for most of the game because you can't. The only way you can get value from the deck is having your commit out early, and it's just getting blown up.
Yeah, one of the last games I played with Abdel Blue, and this is one of the things that like really just like made me rethink my entire philosophy about it. Was I was playing against Aaron. The other 2 decks don't matter, but he was playing Syr Konrad. And his play pattern was I had a bunch of rocks, and I was like, there's no way I lose this game. I have Arcanomancer and I have rocks. And I turned for the Arcanomancer because I went turn 2 rock, turn 3 rock, turn 4 Archaeomancer into rock. And I was like, there's no way I lose this. I have a blink in hand. I'm going to untap, play Abdel. And I did. I untapped, played Abdel, resolved, made my tokens. Aaron had been just building his resources, drawing some cards, nothing too crazy. And then on curve, the other 2 players played their commanders. They were setting up as well. Aaron goes, show you a Curse Marauder. I was like, sure. Crap. Sack Abdel, because I had no other real creatures. I put my Archaeomancer back into play. He goes, cool. Unearth, target a Curse Marauder. Makes me sack my Archaeomancer. And I was just like, I'm just out of this game. Like, I'm not even playing the game anymore. Like, what is because I had nothing in the yard yet to even bring back with Archaeomancer. So I had no value from it. And I was just like, yeah.
You see, Gator?
Destroyed.
That's a play pattern issue. What you should have done was flicker Abdel, poop out the Archaeomancer, sack the Archaeomancer, still cry it anyway because Aaron probably still would have done it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it still would have died anyway, so it didn't even matter.
Anyway,
yeah, it didn't matter. And I was just like, cool. Like, this sucks. And he just killed my field. He actually played 3 of them that turn, for the record. He went.
I don't think you're allowed to win that game at that point.
Well, he was getting rid of the other opponent's like entire board, which made sense.
Again, it's one of those things where like we say, Abdel Blue's not good anymore. No one's gonna believe us.
Well, like
we tell you what happens in these games.
I know that play pattern I just described is very specific, but like that happens to me all the time where I get blown out by that creature. Like that Curse Marauder is bonkers. When I was playing my Wilson deck not too long ago, that creature blew me out. And it was just like, and it was in the dumbest way ever. It was another game against Aaron, and he's typically the Syr Konrad player I play against, and he feed swarms my Mana Dork, and then he plays the Curse Marauder, should kill my stinking Wilson. And I'm like,
Oh.
damn it. I'm like, damn it, Aaron.
Rough.
So like, yeah, it's so rough. But with all that said, guys, do you have any closing thoughts about some of the decks maybe or anything like that?
No, I think we're just moving into a more creature heavy meta because we all need edict fodder at this point.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I think overall the decks are just getting better.
Yeah, which is great.
There's a lot more higher tier decks now than there ever were, and I think that's awesome. Like, there's a lot of really cool decks that are really, really strong. I mean, we have like Shadow Spinner and stuff. Like these new decks that have come out that are just like really impressive, and it's kind of cool that like we can play decks like Dargo and Gut and be like, oh, we're not the immediate threat at the table. There's actually a deck that is scarier, or like perceived to be scarier at sitting at the table, which is awesome. It's like finally like this is good. Like having a more balanced table where every deck is super scary, I think it's like where we want to be in the format.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I couldn't have said it better myself. But with all that said, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Kind of our end of year wrap up. Wanted to give you guys a little something. Please enjoy, and Franklin, take us home, my bro.
Yep. Thank you everyone for making it this far. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, follow us over on TikTok and over on Spotify. Join our Discord channel so you can hang out with us in the morning. And if you need help with brewing decks, you got me and Gator over there. And with that, take care, everyone. See you next week. Have a happy new year.
Later.
All right, guys.
Thank you for watching. And if you want to support the channel, please subscribe and join the Discord in our link below. And become a member over on our Patreon. Shout out to all of our patrons: Eric, Aaron, Dax, Devin, NYC Burrito, Little Red Loted, Frank, Scoob, HZ, William, Paul, and JOD. Thank you for all of your support.